Nothing in this podcast is meant for medical advice. Please discuss your own healthcare with your healthcare providers. Thank you. Welcome to your B-side, your midlife metamorphosis. I'm your host, Dr. Amy Lindsey. Midlife is not a crisis, it's a catalyst to your best life. Join me each week for a dose of mental, physical, and spiritual health, life, grief, adventure, and opportunity. It's time to flip the record over. Welcome to your B-side, Midlife Metamorphosis, with me, your host, Dr. Amy Lindsey. Today, I'm going to tell you a story about how losing my internet and shattering my iPhone in the same day led me to finding the piano I had been dreaming about. The universe is trying to give you what you want. You have to show up for it. So I moved to France a few months ago. And it's been, a process, setting up the house that I'm renting, setting up everything I need. And one thing that I had been really missing was my piano that is back home in the States. So I had been spending weeks researching piano retailers, used pianos, renting pianos, trying to figure out a solution where I could get a piano in this house that I'm in so that I can play. Because playing piano is one of the best things that I can do for myself. I'm a creative person, it helps my mental health, and I had been really missing it. And I had been spending weeks searching online. And one day I found what I needed. And it was in a town about 20 minutes from me. I jumped in the car. I drove there so excited to get to this piano. And when I showed up, the store was closed. And I don't mean closed for the day. I mean closed for good. And I'm going to be honest with you. I started crying. I started crying because, and I get emotional, it was such a win for me to finally figure it out. And I had been missing playing piano so much. And I drove all the way to this town. I mean, it was only 20 miles, but I'm still getting used to driving around France and I don't understand where I'm going. And so it was a big deal to drive there and try to figure out how to say in French all the things I needed to say to try to get this piano. And so defeated, I drove home. And I remember writing, or I was posting on Instagram or something about it. And a couple of really good friends who know me very well said, "Oh, don't worry, universe has got your back. You're going to find a piano." And knowing you, it's going to come from the most random story. Well, my friends weren't wrong. So one day I had a class I was teaching. I had 2 patients on the docket, and I had my own storytelling workshop that I was participating in as a client with somebody else. And that day, I go to log on to my computer and the internet was out. And I wrote my landlord and he said, "Yep, looks like they cut the line." And so all the work that I've been doing has been online, and suddenly I didn't have internet. And so I was on my phone and I was trying to use my phone as a hotspot. And my phone started glitching and I couldn't figure out what was going on with my phone. And I took the cover off, like the protector off, and I saw the back of my phone was completely shattered. And my phone was glitching in and out. And then I lost service on my phone. My phone just died and it was shattered. And here I am sitting in this home I'm renting in rural France. There's no internet. I have no phone. And not only am I supposed to be participating in a workshop for myself, I have a class to teach, a whole big group of people that paid good money for it, and I have a couple of patients that day to see online for telehealth. Hey, this is Dr. Amy Lindsey, your host of Welcome to Your B-Side, your Midlife Metamorphosis YouTube channel and podcast. If you want to be more involved with my B-Side community, you can join on School. That's SKOOL. You can join my school community. Look me up, Dr. Amy Lindsey. Welcome to your B-side and request to join. I have to admit, I didn't have the most enlightened reaction at first. I was pretty pissed off. You know, I was screaming at the universe. I was screaming at the French internet system. I was screaming at my phone. I was so mad and so frustrated. I thought, I'm going to have to cancel everything. And then I thought, well, how am I going to cancel everything? And the gym that I go to has internet, but it's not really conducive to having meetings or seeing patients online or teaching, right? Like I could go on there and check my email, but wouldn't be the place for me to see patients for sure. And so I I thought, well, I can go to the gym, get on the internet and write everybody and cancel. And then something inside of me was like, what would you tell your own client to do? What would you tell yourself to do right now? And I had to take a step back and get out of that everything is going wrong mindset. And I had to get into that mindset of, nope, whenever there's a problem, there is a solution. Life is happening for me, not to me. I am committed. I will get creative. I'm a creative person and I will solve this problem. So I hopped in the car and decided to drive to Geneva. Now, mind you, I hadn't booked a hotel. I couldn't. I didn't have the internet. I thought about going to the gym and booking the hotel, but just something in me just was like, get in the car and go to Geneva, Switzerland, which is about an hour from me. So I got in the car, I got all my stuff, and I drove to Geneva. And I knew where a cluster of shops and hotels and kind of like a main city center was. And so I drove there and I found a parking lot and I parked my car and I walked into the first boutique hotel I saw and asked them if they had a room for the night. And they did. They had one room left. So I booked their last room at the hotel and set up all my internet, set up all my things so that I would be ready to teach my class. And because of the time zone change, all of my clients and my own workshop that I was doing and the class I was teaching, everything was in the evening at night because I'm still working on US hours. So I had some time to get some dinner and I asked the front desk about a couple restaurants, and they told me about one that I was interested in. And so I went seeking out this restaurant, old school, right? I didn't have my phone to do the GPS. So I had to kind of follow directions on a little piece of paper. And I went to this restaurant. I walked all the way there. I found it and it was closed, and not closed for the day, closed for good. Like the same thing that had happened with the piano store a few weeks earlier. And so again, I started to get pissed off and I'm like, wait a second. Nope, we're not doing this today. We're not doing this. We are solving problems. We are going with the flow. We are figuring this out. Life is happening for me. Life is happening for me. And I had walked quite a ways. I was a little lost. But I knew my hotel was close to the river, or it's a lake, Lake Geneva. It was close to the lake. And so I just started walking in the direction of the water, and I found a little cafe that they were allowing me to do a little takeout, and it was exactly what I wanted. And the lady was so nice, and they were just closing, but she let me do takeout, and I tipped her well, and I had my food, and I kept walking, and I was wandering around lost in Geneva, just trying to find my hotel, when I came upon a piano store. It was like the universe just dropped me exactly where I needed to be. But I first had to solve problems. I first had to stay in action. I first had to not give up. I had to keep going and stay committed to my clients, stay committed to myself as a client for the workshop I was doing. And I had to just keep going. And I was rewarded with this piano store. I walked in the piano store, and the exact digital piano that I have been looking for my house in France was sitting right there. It was right in front of me. And not only that, but someone was in there playing piano. Of course, it's a piano store. People are always playing the pianos in piano stores. But what they were playing, so I don't know how many of you have studied classical piano. I studied classical piano through college. Now I play all kinds of piano and write my own songs, etc. But I played classical piano all through college, and there's kind of a repertoire, right? Especially in North America. I don't know about the rest of the world, but there's kind of a repertoire of pieces that you learn and composers that you learn when you're in a classical style. And we all kind of learn almost the same pieces, maybe a few, maybe different opuses or numbers of a Chopin piece or something, but we all kind of learn the same ones. And in that piano store, I am not kidding you, this person played three pieces, and they were the three pieces I know by heart more than any other piece. All three of those pieces are three of like the top, maybe 6 or 8 pieces that I have memorized from all those years ago playing classical piano in college. It was such a sign to me. It was like the universe was like, Amy, check this out. Not only is your piano here, but all those pieces that someone's playing them just for you. I bought the piano on the spot. Now, I had to then, of course, arrange and figure out like how I was getting this piano back to France. But that was neither here nor there. The universe gave me exactly what I wanted. And yes, I did eventually make it back to my hotel. I did make it in time to my own workshop that I was taking as a student, as a client, and I was able to teach the course that all these people had signed up for from my hotel room, and I was able to see my patients that day. And I had just bought that piano. So what are the lessons here? The lesson is, and I truly believe this, the universe is trying to give you exactly what you want. Now, you can call it God, you can call it the source, you can call it whatever you want, but we're all connected to it. And it really, truly does have your back. But what happens to most people? I would say most people in that situation would have shut down, and the problem that they would have solved would have been to go to the gym, got on their email, and canceled everything, right? So that is one way to solve a problem. And I've certainly done that before. But where the magic and the miracles and that those moments that you just can't even believe happen are when you don't give up. When you decide that there's something about this problem that I've encountered, there's something about this obstacle that I'm facing that is actually in my best interest. And that is a mindset shift that is hard to make, but it is necessary to honestly to get all the things in your life that you're desiring, right? The universe truly is trying to give them to you. And most people would shut down. Most people would cancel. Most people would see the problems and the obstacles as things that are happening to them. They might even go into an inner dialogue of things aren't fair, that they might lose some money because they have to refund people because they can't teach the class. They might feel bummed out that they're going to miss the class that they signed up for. They might cancel their patients, and that might be how they solve the problem. And then it goes into this mindset that life isn't fair or all these things are happening to me. Well, guess what? Things are happening to all of us. All of us. Now, what I'm talking about is pretty, first world privileged stuff that was happening to me, right? But stuff is happening to all of us on the entire spectrum. Life will life us no matter what. It's then the test of who are we being, and then what are we doing? What are we saying about the situation? How are we responding to the situation? And to me, this is in part what your B-side is all about. Because at this point in your life, in midlife, when you flip that record over to your B side, you made a choice to flip it over, to stop just what I call the broken record of status quo, or the broken record of some of the ways that you've been being up until this point in your life. Maybe you have been playing the victim. Okay, flip that record over. No more, right? No more of this. That when you flip the record over on your mindset to your B side and you start seeing your life as unfolding to give you everything that your heart desires, you just got to show up and take action and get out of a mindset that says that all these things are happening to me, and instead see them as an opportunity for your growth. So I hope you enjoyed that story. By the way, I have an entire vault of stories like that. And that's why my friends even said, you're going to have some story about this, but you will get your piano. And that's so true, because I choose to see my life that way. And I encourage you to start seeing yours that way. This is Dr. Amy Lindsey. This has been Welcome to Your B-Side, Midlife Metamorphosis. Have a great day. This has been another episode of Welcome to Your B-Side, your midlife metamorphosis with Dr. Amy Lindsey. Be sure to follow along and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. See you next time.